the f is Tara in The Walking Dead? Ladies and gentlemen, there have been many taboo characters who have come and gone within The Walking Dead's universe, but none of them have brought on more controversy within the fandom like the one and only Tara Chambers. Yes, that's her last name, and no, I did not know that until just right now either. In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Tara's entire story arc and concluding whether she was a worthy character to exist in the story or whether she wasn't. And spoiler alert, it's not so straightforward. Tara's story on The Walking Dead does not really adapt any one character's story arc from the comics, but on its own, her story is absolutely one of remarkable transformation from an isolated survivor to a key member of the group. When we first meet Tara in season 4, she's living in an apartment with her family, her sister Lily, her niece Megan, and her dying father David. And their world changes when they encounter the governor, who manipulates them into joining his plan to attack the prison. And by the way, is it just me or is this detail often forgotten? Like, whenever I think of Tara, I totally overlook the fact that she was originally introduced being involved with the governor. And I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think about that right under the like button, but just thinking about it, I always forgot that happened. I don't know. Anyways, at first, Tara trusts the governor, but as the attack at the prison unfolds, she's horrified by her actions, especially when he murders Herschel Green in cold blood. Overwhelmed, she retreats from the chaos, disillusioned and alone. And that's when Glenn finds her, and their unlikely bond sets Tara on a new path, metaphorically walking straight towards a series regular, really. Physically, though, together they search for Maggie, eventually crossing paths with Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene. Tara's decision to stick by Glenn shows her loyalty and willingness to fight for others for sure, traits that become central to her character. After enduring all of the horrors of Terminus, she officially becomes part of Rick's group. In Alexandria, Tara establishes herself as a reliable, trusted member of the community. Her humor and optimism shine even in dire situations, love it or hate it. She also develops a romantic relationship with Denise, which brings a sense of hope and humanity for her journey. But like so many on The Walking Dead, that hope was definitely short-lived when Denise is killed by Dwight, straight up taking Abraham's comic book death. Tara struggles with her grief and anger, initially seeking revenge before eventually seeing Dwight's value as an ally against the Saviors. One of Tara's defining moments comes during a supply run in Season 7 when she stumbles upon long-forgotten Oceanside, a hidden community of women who've suffered at the hands of the Saviors who killed all of their husbands and sons. Despite their hospitality, Tara promises to keep their location a secret, demonstrating integrity even in a difficult circumstance. And I have to say, I don't know about you, but I absolutely hated Oceanside. Like, I really could not stand that storyline. I just found it straight up insufferable, but hey, that's just me. I don't know. If you liked it, definitely no hard feelings. Let me know in the comments. Would love to hear your take on that for sure. But regardless, when the war against the Saviors begins, Tara is on the front lines, proving her bravery repeatedly, even to the extent that she involved the women of Oceanside entirely to take out a large group of Saviors at the end of the war. And once Negan was arrested by Rick, she eventually takes on leadership in the Hilltop following Jesus' death, who she was a previous apprentice for. Her focus at the time was to rebuild and guide the community during a fragile time of peace, and her evolution into a leader solidifies her importance within the group for sure. But Tara's story comes to a tragic or happy, depending on how you feel about her character, end in Season 9. She's captured by Alpha and the Whisperers during the fair, and her decapitated head is placed on a pike alongside others as a brutal warning to the communities. Tara's journey, no matter how you feel about her, is one of resilience and growth. She starts as a naive and unsure survivor, but grows into a courageous leader who leaves a lasting impact on those around her. Her humor, loyalty, and courage make her one of the most memorable characters for sure, for better or for worse, on The Walking Dead. What's interesting about Tara is that her story is completely original to the Walking Dead TV adaptation. She doesn't have any sort of counterpart in the comics, making her one of the show's unique creations. And while many of the major characters in the series, like Rick, Carl and Michonne draw their arcs from Robert Kirkman's comics, Tara's journey was crafted exclusively for the screen. From her introduction in season 4 as part of the Governor storyline, it's clear that Tara's character was designed to expand the narrative in ways that the comics just never explored. Like in the comics, the attack on the prison by the Governor doesn't involve new side characters like Tara or her family. Instead, it's a much more direct and brutal event focusing on the core survivors, and at that, honestly, the Governor arc in the comics was very quick as far as like him turning bad, so we didn't get as much of a backstory to him, which we got through the eyes of Tara and people like that. But by introducing Tara to the show, it added a layer of complexity to the Governor's final days, giving viewers a perspective from someone who was manipulated into fighting his war, but ultimately realized his true nature. Tara's role within Rick's group and later as a leader in Hilltop also stands apart from the comics. For example, the Hilltop's leadership transitions very differently in the comics, and while characters like Maggie and Jesus still take center stage, Tara's ascent to leadership and her contributions to the community were entirely invented for the show. Even major moments like her discovery of Oceanside and her bond with its people have no direct comic book equivalent. Oceanside as a community doesn't even exist in the comics, meaning this storyline and Tara's moral conflict over whether to reveal their location was another unique layer added by the show's writers. Her death at the hand of Alpha during the Whisperer's Pike scene is another example. While the Pike moment is adapted from the comics, the list of victims is very different. In the source material, characters like Rosita and Ezekiel are among those killed by Alpha, while Tara wasn't even part of the comic universe as we know at this point. By including her in the horrifying event, the show gave her an impactful conclusion that tied her story into one of the most iconic comic arcs. Try saying that again. That's iconic comic arcs. That's tough. In the end, Tara's originality allowed the show to explore new dynamics and relationships, making her one of the standout examples of how The Walking Dead TV series expanded beyond its source material for better or worse, really. Her humor, loyalty, and leadership gave the series a unique voice that was entirely her own. And ladies and gentlemen, all of that is to say, Tara's character sparked a lot of mixed reactions from fans throughout her time on the show. For some, she was a fan favorite, a lighthearted and relatable presence in an often dark and grim story, but for others, her character just felt out of place, and she became one of the more polarizing additions to the show. Trust me, we will get to my personal opinions on this matter near the end of the video, but one of the biggest criticisms of Tara came from fans who felt that her comedic tone didn't mesh with the series' more serious, survival-focused atmosphere. Tara often used humor as a coping mechanism, which some viewers appreciated, but others saw it as a distraction from the tension and stakes of the story. There were also many complaints about her storylines, like the introduction of Oceanside, which I agree sucked. Sometimes it felt more like detours that slowed down the pacing for the main plot, which I do agree with. On the other hand, though, Tara had a dedicated fan base that loved her for the very traits that others criticized. Her humor and optimism brought a much-needed balance to the show, and her loyalty made her a compelling character, really. Fans appreciated how Tara's character evolved over time from the naive survivor manipulated by the Governor to a strong, capable leader at Hilltop. Her representation as an openly gay character was also celebrated by many, particularly her relationship with Denise, which brought some rare moments of warmth and humanity to the series for those of you who connected with that. Tara's death in the Whisperer's Pike scene added another layer of controversy. While some fans felt her story had run its course, others were devastated by her loss and believed that she deserved more recognition from her growth and contributions to the group. Ultimately, though, Tara's divisive reception highlights how The Walking Dead often pushed boundaries with its characters. Whether fans loved her or hated her, she undeniably left a mark on the series as one of the most unique, layered creations. But now I saved the best for last. How do I feel about Tara as a character? Honest to God, my feelings about her are somewhere in the middle of all of this controversy. To be completely honest with you, I think Tara is a good character, but she is definitely annoying, and something that isn't her fault but is undeniably true is that her story arcs absolutely sucked. I couldn't stand Oceanside. I couldn't stand that one Heath episode with the PPP thing, and I don't care that the universe still wonders where Heath is. Heath's gone. Who gives a shit where he went? Just all the things that Tara was involved in were some of the worst of The Walking Dead. That doesn't mean Tara was. Yes, I think a lot of people often get mixed up, I guess you could say, with the fact that she was like the adjournment to these terrible stories and kind of blame that on her because she was like a little annoying. But I don't think it was her. I really don't. I think it was just where her story brought the overall story of The Walking Dead, if that makes any sense. Her as an addition, her as a survivor, I have really no complaints with. I actually liked her, and I liked the comedic element that she brought, which I felt was missing from the show. There was no character who was just like cool as a cucumber. That's the only way I could describe Tara. And I can't believe I just said that in a video, cool as a cucumber. But seriously, I don't know how else you could word it other than that she was just chill. Like, she was kind of that foil in the story that was just chill, and it kind of made this apocalyptic nature very just easier to digest, I guess. So I didn't have a problem with her. I personally was bummed when she was on the Pikes because I liked her development over time, but I definitely see why fans don't like her. I'm not going to argue this one at all. I can see it. I was just never in that community of one who didn't like her. I was a fan of Tara. I didn't love her, and I didn't like where she brought the story, but not for her as a character, just like the Oceanside shit. I couldn't stand that stuff. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Did you love Tara? Did you hate Tara? Can't wait to start a healthy conversation down there under the like button. And with all that out of the way, thanks again so much for watching this video. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.